All right, everyone, welcome to St. Bridget's Spiritualist Church for Sunday, March 2nd. Yay, we're in March. I always get so excited once March comes because that means things are going to get less intense, generally, for the cold ways, at least. So I'm Reverend Kim, and I'll be doing service today. I just wanted to say we had a sound meditation. Is that what they call it?
Bowl healing, I think.
A sound bowl healing. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, Jill. I can't. I can't remember what they call it. Yesterday, and my understanding is it was very beautiful. And I really hope that if you have the opportunity to come out to one of these events, please do so. These events support St. Bridget's Spiritualist Church, so that we have a physical building as well as so we're able to be online. We have been talking about doing something at the end of the month for possibly an evening with Spirit, but we're just kind of getting... Oh, okay, so Richard has it all organized. So unfortunately, he doesn't come online, so we'll have to get the details out to you as soon as possible. I do also want to say that we have been doing these videos since, I think, March of 2020. So until we were able to come in here, we would all take turns doing Sunday service online. So those are a little longer. It's kind of an abbreviated service of this. I have figured out, I don't know how I did it, but I figured out how to start to transfer them onto YouTube. So St. Bridget's has a YouTube channel now. And I'm slowly populating it. I'm going to try to remove all of the Facebook posts there so that they're there forever. You're not going through a whole bunch of other stuff, trying to look through posts. So I'm trying to move them over. It's, I believe, at St. Bridget's Spiritualist Church, YEG. So if you see it, like it, so we can get it populated. And I will continually put more videos on as I can. I have limits each day, so I can only do so many. And right now, I'm sorry, they're going to be a little bit rushed on there, but at some point I'm going to go and try to make them all nice and give some explanation to them, because there's a lot of videos. I didn't realize how many that there actually are. Yeah. So if you ever have questions about spiritualism or whatever, and you got some time and you just want to sit down, I really encourage you to listen to them, because there's a lot of great things that we've talked about in there. All right. So today I am going to do a reading from More Philosophy of Silver Birch. And this is from the Silver Birch series. And I want to note, this is through the Spiritual Truth Foundation. Spiritual Truth Foundation is in the UK. And they are the ones who have these books. You can order the books from there. They got tapes, they got recordings, everything. Very exciting. They've got now an app. So, and you can listen to it digitally, and you're not going to be having to, or reading them digitally, so you don't actually have to order all the books. So that's very cool. It takes a lot of postage to get it to Canada. It's very pricey to get it to Canada for postage. Has nothing to do with the books. The books are so reasonably priced. It's just that postage just really, really throws it into a lot. Oh yeah, it is very heavy. So it was funny because I don't do tarot or anything, but when I was in my office today, I found a card that was just sitting on the floor, and when I was looking for something to do, and it says strength. And I think this is something we all need right now with the way society is. So I used it as my bookmark. Excuse me. I am going to read on social problems. And so for those of you who don't know, Silver Birch is a guide who was brought through trance through Maurice Barbanel. All right. And there's so much you can read about them, all of them. It's very special to St. Bridget's heart. It's Reverend Richard is felt very moved and close with Silver Birch. He can tell you about some pretty exciting experiences he's had. So that's why we do these readings. But again, I want you to know that this is where these books come from. This place is absolutely amazing resource for all of this. And I do believe that it was Maurice Barbanel's. He was an editor, and I believe that's why this is all here. Okay. Yes. So I'm in favor of people being permissive as long as they permit themselves to do the right thing. You are all endowed with a divine monitor. You call it conscience. It tells you when you are right or wrong. There can be no more fitting quotation with which to begin this chapter, which examines some of today's moral, ethical, and social problems. The last decade or so has seen a revolution in society's ideas, which the inhabitants either applaud or adore. So I want to say, like, these were done a long time ago. This would say is copyright of 1956. So this was first published in 1979. So we're talking about things that are still problems 40, 50 years later. So when they bring up these things, you know, like, oh, these, you know, things are just coming. These are ongoing social issues, all right? All right, Silver Birch was asked this two-part question by a circle member. There are a lot of people who are worried and troubled about what is happening in our society at the moment. How should a spiritualist conduct himself or herself in these times? And the guide replied, those with knowledge should never allow fear to affect any lodgment within them. Your world has had many troubles. It will have troubles until spiritual principles are the foundation on which orders of society are built. To try and erect these on a materialistic basis is equivalent to building on quicksand. You cannot have peace within while there is a war within. How can there be cooperation when hatred, violence, enmity, greed, and sloth are the expressions of too many people? Love is the fulfilling of the law. You must love one another because you recognize that every individual in your world is your spiritual brother or sister, and that the whole human family consists of spiritual kith and kin. This is what the Great Spirit has done by implanting into every being a portion of its own divinity, so that the chain of the Spirit in which you are all links girdles the whole of your world. At present, there is no recognition of this eternal fact that primarily you are spiritual beings, none of whom can live in isolation from others, that your evolution is bound up with one another, that you advance or retreat collectively. This is your responsibility. I have always said that knowledge brings responsibility as to how it is to be employed. Once you are aware of spiritual truths, once you are familiar with the workings of the power of the Spirit, you have no fear of today or tomorrow. No harm will befall your spirit. If you are living according to what you know and what has been revealed to you, you will come through unsinged no matter what the fire. You cannot be spiritually hurt or crushed by whatever happens in your world. You have all had evidence in your own lives of what the power of Spirit can do when the conditions are right. Unfortunately, those who are aware of these vital truths are few and not the many. The majority think that power resides in matter, in force, in domination, in tyranny, in slavery, but all the children of the Great Spirit are born to be free in body, mind, and spirit. Gradually, as these truths infiltrate and permeate everywhere, the children of earth will live in greater liberty and a brighter luster will be their very existence every day. You have not come to an end of the story in this land or in any other lands. The divine power of evolution will slowly and gradually reveal itself. People on earth may block, impede, and delay, but they cannot alter divine will. If they could overcome the will of Great Spirit, then earth would have crumbled a long time ago. Spirit is superior in matter. The divine Spirit is the overruling power. I always say, lift up your hearts, hold your hearts high, hold your heads high. There is nothing to fear in your world, or in ours for that matter. You will come through. And then there's a question. Should we not encourage our speakers to concentrate more on attacking what is known to be wrong, such as the color bar, encouraging hate of various nations, cruelty to animals and children? Silver Birch replies, yes, as long as you stress that the reason why you attack these cruelties, misunderstandings, and discriminations is because they are spiritually wrong apart from being physically wrong. You have a unique attitude towards these problems because you are aware of the spiritual realities. Because man is a spirit, he must have a body fit enough to be its temple. Therefore, his mind must have the education that is essential to equip that temple. His body must have the right conditions, the right home, the right clothing, the right food, because it is spiritually necessary for this to be so. It is spiritually wrong to be cruel to animals. It is spiritually wrong to have race or color discrimination. The soul has no color. It is not yellow, red, black, or white. If you stress the spiritual aspect, then you are emphasizing the most important contribution you can make. Question. My point is that we should protect ourselves against brainwashing attempted by all the media, and that teaches us nothing but hate. Silver Birch says, that's funny, so many years later, right? We still have this going on. Silver Birch replies, if you have spiritual awareness, you cannot hate your spiritual brother. And they said, I think we know more have to help. And he says, yes, the greater the knowledge, the greater the responsibility. And they said, and when we're aware, to be tolerant. Silver Birch says, tolerance is the essence of spirituality. If there is bigotry, there is no spirituality. Then they say, it's all very well saying be tolerant, I agree, but one must define what one means by tolerance in relation to the concrete world. We certainly shouldn't be tolerant of cruelty or evil in any form. Silver Birch says, you must also define evil. The whole purpose of earthly life is to develop your spiritual nature so that you are ready for the next stage beyond, which is called death. You will have an increasing degree of awareness. As your spiritual nature unfolds and advances, so automatically you will become more tolerant and more compassionate to others. That does not mean to say you must be tolerant towards evil, cruelty, or wickedness of any kind. It is a tolerance towards others because you realize they are less informed than you are. Often they are doing things through sheer ignorance because they are unaware of the implications of their actions. That is where your tolerance is necessary. But it is not a tolerance that you should accept evil and disregard it. That is not toleration, but ignoring the obvious. Tolerance involves awareness and a readiness to serve wherever you can. And the member says, toleration comes from love and loving kindness. When you love individuals, you tolerate their faults. I think toleration, which means love, is what the world lacks now. And we could combine the two, we would have more elevation. And Silver Birch says, I agree with you. Your Bible says that love is the fulfilling of the law. Love is the law of the Great Spirit, because the Great Spirit is love. And when you reflect the Great Spirit, you are expressing love. By love, I mean compassion, the desire to serve, to sacrifice, to help, to do all within your power for those who are less fortunate than you are. This is the love that ignores self and wants to do what it can for someone who needs the service that you can give. He says, one of the circle members says, some people maintain that society today has never been more immoral. Again, how many years later? Is that the view of the spiritual world? The instance, what happened 50 to 100 years ago when children were sent to work, cleaning chimneys, etc. Silver Birch said, what is meant by immoral? Some things you regard as moral, we would highly regard as highly immoral. It depends on your outlook. To me, morality is the ideal, which infuses you with the idea of acting always according to the highest principles of which you are aware. This is to be kind, helpful, and compassionate. It is not to inflict hurt or injury on another, not in any way to impede the progress of another, to do nothing that causes you shame or a later knowledge that you have behaved in a fashion that is inconsistent with the truth that you have received. That is the morality I understand. That I would teach to others. As to whether your world is more or less moral must depend on your interpretation of morality. In some respects, it is essentially economically and spiritually better. In others, it is not so because evolution does not move in a straight line. Silver Birch says, seek ye first the kingdom of God in heaven, and all these other things will be added onto you. And the circle member says, surely one can do both. And Silver Birch says, of course, but if you have your priorities right, you are spiritually aware. You will not neglect those dependent on you. You have never taught We have never taught you should avoid your responsibilities in the physical world. You must have your priorities right and be aware of your spiritual responsibilities as well as the physical ones. Do not neglect the spirit, the mind, or the body, or seek to cast away that for which you are responsible. So, like I said, a lot of these things are things that we're still talking about today, and it's how many years later, like this was so long ago, you know, in our ideas. And I can tell you that's one of the things that I myself have also done is I talk to people, especially with what's going on, and they're like, oh, you know, these people are bad, these people are bad, or whatever, and oh, what party are you following? And I just say, like, I don't follow any of them, because I can't, because I have no attachments. Yeah, like I am going spiritually. And so I just wanted to share this with you today. And again, this was what came today, the strength. And I think this is all we need. So I'm just going to say goodbye to the people that are on our Facebook Live. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next week.